Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. Today, I'm going to be talking about something I call checking stats disease. Or there's basically this idea that, and this is kind of an entrepreneurial topic, but it applies to everything, right? Is this idea of it is so much more fun to look in the mirror and see how ripped you are than it is to lift the weights. It is so much more fun to watch the money roll in, the sales roll in, than it is to build the product or to build the software, right? It's so much more fun to see the stats or the score than it is to fight the battle and play the game. And so I want to talk about this idea that, and we're all susceptible to this, right? And I was just talking to my good buddy, Josh Earl, who, if you don't know, he's a big part of Simple Programmer now. He is basically the copywriting marketing guru. He does a lot of work for Simple Programmer, and he's the kind of behind the scenes guy. He joined on, I think, January of this year. So he's been involved in a lot of the emails, a lot of cool stuff here, and he's done a phenomenal job. But he was building his own product on creating email courses, and he was talking about how he hates the product creation part of it. And being someone who's created a lot of products, I create a lot of videos for Pluralsight. You can check them out here. But and well, the Pluralsight videos, obviously I've written my book, Soft Skills. I have done, how to market yourself as a software developer. I did the 10 steps to learn anything quickly. I'm writing a new book. I've done a lot of products or projects. I know it sucks. It's some of it is fun, right? I don't want to be like, oh, it sucks to build things. It's fun to build things, but then it sucks, right? It's a lot more fun, and especially once you start to get the addiction of checking stats and seeing people buy your stuff, that's so much more fun. It's so much more exciting, right? And so he was just telling me about how he hates making products. And I thought, okay, this is interesting because so many people, they get in this phase where they're addicted to the dopamine rush, the adrenaline rush of checking the stats, of seeing the progress, and they don't learn to appreciate the hard work, the part that's necessary to get there. And so they just want that other part, right? I can do this. I still do this from time to time, right? I'm checking my YouTube stats, or I'm checking whatever stats or the sales and stuff, and it's like I'm wasting time doing that, and I'm excited about that instead of spending that time working on the product, working on the thing, right? And again, in the fitness side, this happens all the time, right? I stand in the mirror, look at my abs, like, oh, look at my six-pack now. And that's a lot more fun than going to the gym and doing the diet and stuff, right? The things that get you the result. So, the basic message here is this, it's like, you have to remember that the thing that gets you the results is more important than the results, right? I did this video on trusting the process. It's a similar concept, but I think this is a spin on it, which is this idea that, those results are great. They're awesome. But you gotta drop this checking stats disease. You gotta get rid of that disease. Otherwise, you'll get so caught up in that you'll forget that you actually have to, if you want to put your art in the art show, in the gallery, that's great, but you got to make the art, right? You got to sit there and paint, right? And you should figure out a way to enjoy that as well, right? I'm the master of the slog, right? I mean, I slog through shit all the time, right? I grind. I learned to grind from playing EverQuest and MUDs way back in the day, and then I learned to grind from poker, and those skills have helped me immensely as an entrepreneur because everything is a fucking grind, right? If you've seen the movie Rounders, right? Life is a grind, and it becomes a grind, but then comes the reward, then comes the result, and you got to be able to learn how to grind. You got to be comfortable with the grind. Building a product is a grind. Writing a book is a grind. Building up a blog and building a business, it's all a grind, man. There's good points and there's low points, and there's fun along the way, but you got to recognize that the grind is you're going to spend most of your time in the grind, and it's okay. But if you can't adapt to that, if you can't realize that you're going to spend that time in the grind, and you got to be checking the stats, you got to be looking in the mirror all the time, you got to be, and you're only getting your adrenaline rush, you're only getting your enjoyment out of that, then what's going to happen is you spend all the time doing that, and that's the only thing that makes you happy, and you stop doing the thing that causes that to happen, right? And a lot of people get stuck there. They have some level of success and they don't know how to go back to the grind to get back to where they just want the success all the time. They just want the hit all the time. And you can't have the hit all the time. You just can't, right? So, my best solution for this is to turn off stats, to turn off to pick specific intervals when you're going to look in the mirror and look at your abs. Not every day, right? When you're going to go and you're going to check your stats, when you're going to go and see the progress, looking over the vista and see how high you've climbed up. But you can't do that all the time. And instead, you got to make your main focus is like, okay, I got to put my head down and I got to grind. I got to bust ass. Grind is what, sometimes it can be in your head that you disconnect the idea of the grind from the result, and you just feel like could I just get the result? And you can't, right? You got to remember that thing that you enjoy, that result that you enjoy, it's connected to the grind. And so you might hate the grind, but you gotta love the grind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta love that. You gotta love that you're sitting there and slogging it out. When I'm writing my book, I'm like, man, I'm making progress, I'm getting there. And I know that it's gonna feel good when I finish, when I complete the book, when I sell the book, right? But if I'm just focused on that, just watching the cash roll in or just watching the stats go up, it's really easy to get distracted and to start to hate the grind and to not value the grind. Try to just shortcut things to just get the result part, because that's the fun part. But you can't do that. Life doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, the laws of nature, the laws, principles that govern the universe don't allow you to reap without sowing. So you gotta sow if you want to reap. So anyway, I thought I would just share that little tidbit with you today. If you like this video, if you feel like it could help someone who they just can't grind, man. They just can't get into the grind mood because they just want to see the result. They just love to look themselves in the mirror instead of actually pumping the weights, those people at the gym. But then share the video. And if you'd like to join the community, of course, check out the Patreon page. And I will talk to you next time. Take care.